Okay, here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
The Thinking Atheist. It's not a person. It's a symbol. An idea.
The population of atheists in this country is going through the roof.
Rejecting faith. Pursuing knowledge. Challenging the sacred.
If I tell the truth, it's because I tell the truth. Not because I put my hand on a book and made a wish.
And working together for a more rational world.
Take the risk of thinking for yourself. Much more happiness, truth, beauty, and wisdom will come to you that way.
Assume nothing. Question everything. And start thinking. This is the Thinking Atheist Podcast. Hosted by Seth Andrews.
I am so incredibly spoiled. In the grand scheme of things, this is absolutely true. And I know that life can be hard. And yes, we are all faced with legitimate problems and hurts and obstacles and circumstances that impact our lives, often devastatingly so. I'm not saying that we don't have difficulties, my friends. But I am saying that I seem to have forgotten how spoiled rotten I really am. And the other day, it just hit me, and I started thinking about this, and I want to share those thoughts with you in a format that is a little bit different this week, but a format that helps me to tell the story. I think about describing my life to two different kinds of people. Those who lived a long time ago, hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago, and those who live today in third world conditions so primitive that it might as well be the ancient past. And these people would look at my life and my day with awe and wonder, and they would tell me that I was rich beyond words. And it's caused me to refocus because I see now so many of the accoutrements of my life that I didn't even notice. I woke up this morning in a bed, on a mattress, one of those comfy memory foam mattresses. Imagine trying to explain memory foam to somebody back in the 1600s, somebody sleeping on a cot or on blankets or on the ground. Even the pillow was developed by scientists somewhere, a memory foam pillow enveloping my head in a cloud for 8 hours every night. And as I slept, I wasn't worried about the hard ground or the insects or predators or the stifling heat and humidity or cold or torrents of rain or any of that stuff. I was totally surrounded in shelter. I had a desk fan that was blowing a slight breeze over my face. The room was cool with air conditioning. Oh, we Americans love our air conditioning. We use more air conditioning than any other country in the world, so much so that other first world countries look at us and wonder why and how we keep our lives so very cold. Personally, I like 74 degrees during the day and a cool 68 at night as I hibernate under the warm blankets air conditioning. When I woke this morning, the coffee was already made. My coffee pot starts on a timer, so when I get around, the Java is already brewed. Imagine telling somebody in Ethiopia about coffee that brews itself on a timer. I mean, can you imagine traveling back in time to explain to somebody in the medieval era that you can build a machine just for coffee? And that machine will be essentially powered by man-made lightning that's wired throughout your house, and you can command it to heat clean water and filter it through coffee grounds that you ground up with another machine or was made in a large factory of machines and provided to you in a sealed canister. I mean, when was coffee invented? 800 CE or before? Can you imagine not living with coffee? Billions of people have no idea what I'm talking about. They're still stuck on the clean water. Imagine telling somebody in Uganda or Somalia or the Congo that you have clean and drinkable water and it's available on tap at a moment's notice from little pipes scattered around specific rooms of your home. Even the water in my toilet is a world cleaner than the drinking water in those places. Right now, today, almost 900 million people do not have access to clean water. 2.3 billion don't have access to safe sanitation. Meanwhile, I'm complaining that the motion sensor under the soap dispenser isn't working as I wave my hands and I have to dispense the soap manually. Meanwhile, I run my water without a care. I brush my teeth, I take the long shower, I run the dishwasher, I schedule the lawn sprinklers. Imagine explaining lawn sprinklers to somebody who lives through typhoon season, where the water could sweep away your life and even kill you. Imagine explaining your shoe closet to millions of people who have to walk rocky and thorny terrain with only the calloused soles of their feet. In my closet, I've got tennis shoes and dress shoes, and casual shoes, flip-flops, work boots, even a pair of house slippers. I never had to sift through a garbage bag or a dumpster searching for shoes that somebody else might have discarded. I don't spend my day nursing the cuts and removing the thorns from the jagged world outside. I am so very spoiled in this regard. I find my shoes and my clothes and so many of the accessories in my life on the internet. I just Google it. I Google it. When I have questions about how the world works, I just Google it. Imagine explaining Google to the third world or the old world. And think about the old days when information was locked away for the very few or only for those people who had the patience to dig through hundreds of books and documents and letters and papers, from Britannica to science websites to the libraries of major universities posted online. I just type a few letters into Google, and so many answers to so many of my questions simply magically appear. The whole world is my university. The whole world is right there in my home office, on my cell phone, in front of my eyes. I can see the whole world. I can travel the world with just a few mouse clicks on Google Earth. Imagine trying to explain Google Earth to those who wrote religious holy books and those obsolete science books which talked about an Earth that had corners, the four corners of the Earth, not spherical, a flat Earth like a disk, likely the center of the whole universe, right? Geocentrism. Imagine the hugely complex experiments of Pythagoras. He didn't have Google Earth to be able to see every major location of the planet properly labeled and zoomable. He couldn't have imagined that humankind would be flying into space and doing it for recreation, able to see that curved horizon and the sun behind it and the auroras and the city lights and the hurricanes and the smoke from erupting volcanoes, documenting our Earth with magical devices that shoot images of all those amazing things directly to a computer that I can hold in my hand and keep in my pocket. It's really astounding. I've got a device right here with more computing power than was used to send humans to the moon in 1969. Just a few decades ago, my phone was a clumsy contraption. It was hardwired into the wall. One call at a time, no call waiting, no conferencing, no caller ID, certainly no Skype or Zoom or FaceTime. Imagine traveling back to the time of Thomas Edison and trying to explain FaceTime to him. One day we'll click a button and we'll see in rich, full color the faces of people we're talking to, people from next door, the next state, other countries, the other side of the world. We'd record those exchanges, not on clumsy tape, but on these tiny little pieces of metal and plastic so small they could fit on the end of your pinky finger. And those little drives could hold thousands upon thousands of photographs taken in a higher resolution than Thomas Edison could have ever imagined. And we can enhance them and filter them and add things to them and subtract things from them and play with them in a huge variety of ways. Another miracle for the people from our past and those who live in the technological wildernesses of the present day. I complain all the time about my phone. I'm in the restaurant and it doesn't have Wi-Fi, or my Bluetooth headset won't hold a charge, or 256 gigabytes just isn't large enough to hold all my files, or the screen is cracked on my iPhone. And I can imagine that my ancestors would just look at me and say, "Look at what you have. Look at what you have, and look at what I do not." Poor pity on me. You know, there's nothing in the refrigerator, even when there is. No, I'm not living on scraps and filthy drinking water. I'm not scavenging dumpsters or stealing food to survive. I'm not one of the hundreds of millions who will spend this day and go to sleep this night literally starving. All day, every day, I've got the opportunity to stand in front of an appliance that so many couldn't afford, or at least afford to power because of where they live and what they have. And I browse the refrigerator shelves and open the drawers and lament there's nothing to eat, nothing sounds good, when almost everything in my refrigerator would be like manna from heaven to the 25,000 people who will die of starvation today. And I do not see the irony when I complain that I'm starving to death and I'm going to have to DoorDash my meal because there's simply nothing to eat here. And so I click a button, and when I do, a total stranger somewhere else prepares a sack full of food just for me, and then another stranger delivers it directly to me. And I enjoy my pick from a smorgasbord of options. Would I like Mexican food today, or Asian food, or a burger and fries, or sushi, or maybe a delicious dessert? All these options constantly at my fingertips 24 hours a day. My ancestors would see me dialing in this resource delivered to my doorstep, and they would call me a king. On the internet, sometimes I'm bullied. Somebody said something unkind. But in my own life, am I really under threat? Am I really being oppressed? When I log onto Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok to talk about my many, many problems. And I love talking about my problems. You know, I never have to worry about military vehicles surrounding my home and the speech police smashing through my door and my apprehension and arrest for criticizing someone or a government or a religion. I don't live under the scourge of the Inquisition or the death squads of modern-day North Korea, where there, a critical word could get you tortured or in a concentration camp or in an unmarked grave. I'm not hiding in basements, terrified to speak my truth. There are no blasphemy laws in my country. I can say pretty much whatever I want. I don't know what it's like to be threatened with a horrible death by a Colombian drug cartel, or extorted by corrupt police in Nigeria, or kidnapped and enslaved by Islamic radicals in Afghanistan. And while sometimes I speak or encounter the unkind word online, millions of my fellow human beings are being locked in anonymous rooms and forced to endure unimaginable physical and psychological pain for doing the same thing that I take for granted every day, for speaking out, for free speech, for being critical of a politician or a government, for being different, or for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I tell my online friends, you know, all the stress just might kill me, forgetting that I really don't have to worry about being killed for what I think, for my criticisms, my religions, or lack of religions. How fortunate I am in this. I'm an activist. In this country, I'm given the freedom, the latitude to be able to travel from place to place to talk about how and why I reject religion. And I'm welcomed at those places. I'm not stoned or assaulted or thrown into a police van. I travel to those places in a vehicle that my ancestors could have never even dreamed of. How often do I take for granted my own family car? A car about which I am always complaining. The phone won't connect to the stereo and I've got to reset it. I've got a low tire. The oil needs to be changed. It's making a strange noise. I am sitting in a conveyance that travels 15 to 20 times faster than my ancestors could ever walk. I'm sitting there in a comfortable seat with the music or podcast playing. The seat warmer is on. The gas tank gives me hundreds of nonstop miles. I'm shielded from the wind and the sun and the storms and the unknowns that I pass by on the street. The men and the women of the 2nd century would see my car and probably pray against it, calling it strange magic. The men and women of the 3rd world would see my car and just dream of taking even the shortest ride inside it. For theirs is not the world of cars, theirs is a world on foot. And every journey seems to take half the day. And there is no all-wheel drive, or heater vents, or Sirius XM, or trunk space for whatever I've got to take on my journey. I pop the hatch, I load up the car. They have to strap everything over their shoulders and they commit their necks and backs and legs to getting something from here to there. When I'm really inconvenienced about the drive, I spend money that so many don't have and I buy a ticket to ride on a flying people carrier in the sky. A jet plane that will propel me to my destination at 500 miles an hour. Many current-day people who live in squalor can't even imagine this. My ancestors couldn't have imagined this. I sit in a padded chair at 39,000 feet, flying from here to there in a metal tube as someone serves me food and beverages, and I enjoy Wi-Fi. I'm traveling 6 hours in a cross-country trip that would have taken 2.5 months back in the 1800s over sketchy terrain. I complain I can't sleep on this aircraft. I'm so inconvenienced as I travel 7/10 of the speed of sound, blistering through the sky. Oh, I'm so irritated, so uncomfortable, so very inconvenienced I am. I get sick and I call my family doctor. Sure, healthcare isn't cheap. Yes, it's hugely problematic, but my physician is there and he takes care of me. If things get too serious, I've got 4 emergency rooms within 15 minutes of my house, and they'll take care of me, whether it's the flu or a kitchen knife to the hand or a broken bone in my body. I'm gurneyed and x-rayed and pain managed and fixed up and physical therapy in a way that must seem like a rich man's world to the people of Guinea or Uganda or Niger. Imagine asking an 11th century peasant if they had a medical card. Imagine asking an impoverished Ethiopian if they can afford their deductible. Yes, we've got legitimate healthcare challenges, but perspective is useful here. Our doctors have medical training. They're not shamans or witch doctors or the ignorant and uneducated agents of blind guesswork. They are scientists. They and we get to see past the world of the naked eye, to see the human condition at the cellular level. A tooth abscess was once potentially deadly. Today it's a trip to the dentist. A broken leg meant an agonizing and imprecise bone setting with no anesthetic. Today it's a local and a 6-week cast and we're up and running again. Epilepsy was often considered so strange and terrifying that people would blame it on demons. Yet today we have a host of scientifically developed medications to treat epilepsy as a medical, not a supernatural problem. We wear contact lenses for vision correction when so many other people remain in a blurry disconnect from the world. We've got orthopedic shoes and Tylenol for headaches and physical therapists and antiseptics. In the modern age, in my spoiled little world, A break of the skin doesn't mean infection that might kill me. It means a quick cleaning, maybe an antibiotic, and an adhesive bandage to wear until I can forget about it, just like I've forgotten about so many other things that could ruin my day, but would ruin somebody else's life. Amazon is late with my delivery. I've got it so bad. The lawn needs mowing again, and I'm just exhausted. I've got it so bad. There's only broccoli and water in the fridge. I've got it so bad. My internet is down. The restaurant closed early. I can't decide what to wear. I can't get a signal. There's a detour on the highway. I can't find a good show to watch. Somebody was mean to me on the internet. How many of our problems, how many of them are the problems of relative privilege, existing in a universe that billions of other people would do almost anything to experience and enjoy? It's a universe that does bring its own legitimate challenges, and I hope that you don't feel that I've been trying to make you feel like your challenges don't matter. But in my own life, I just needed to refocus. I needed to be reminded of how good I really have it. I am alive in an amazing time with mind-blowing conveniences in a hyper-connected world as a hugely free and privileged person, and I've forgotten to notice. At least I had forgotten until today. So as we fill our plates and load our washing machines and shop Amazon and enroll our kids in sports or marching band, and we endure the bad weather that is not literally crashing down on our unsheltered heads, and as we point and click and freely move in a life that allows us latitude and privilege that others have literally died in the pursuit of, let's just take those things that grieve us and let's take another look at them against the forgotten things that we've often taken for granted. Even when our life seems intolerable to us, when we really stop and look at ourselves, who we are and what we have, perhaps we are richer than we think. Thank you for listening today. Thanks for indulging my little audio essay as I sort of spill my thoughts out onto the podcast. Some days are really legitimately bad, but some days that we often miss, those days are really, really good. Let's not forget to stop and look around and see them for what they are. Have a wonderful week. I'll catch you next time.
Follow The Thinking Atheist on Facebook and Twitter for a complete archive of podcasts and videos, products like mugs and t-shirts featuring the Thinking Atheist logo, links to atheist pages and resources, and details on upcoming Free Thought events and conventions. Log on to our website, thethinkingatheist.com.